So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Dill, Matt, and I. Dill, you absolutely killed it on here, and we look forward to having you on again down the road. It's now for episode 124 of Eazy Conversations. I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. So, what's up, the people?
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day right now. I know I am. It's a glorious Friday today. Just finished hockey. Tonight's episode is going to be a little different from the last few. It's going to be more, I guess, personal, intimate. Eric, why don't you tell everyone what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so for this one, we're going to be doing something unlike the last few, which have been really TV, movie centric. This is going to be a little more, perhaps, intense at times, if you will, but just this is actually a suggested topic from one of the listeners to have us go over stuff to keep ourselves busy, or just how to navigate mental health throughout the colder months that are now upon us, right? We're in November at the time we're recording, and we're heading into December, January, February, which are typically the months where people sometimes struggle a bit more and the days are shorter. There's a lot less light in the day. All those factors, the cold, contribute to maybe some seasonal depression, as they say. So it'd be a good time to address that, and just for ourselves too, to share maybe some tips and tricks, stuff that we're doing to keep busy and keep our minds sharp. So yeah, all of that. So I feel like there's a lot that falls in there, and we could just go kind of back and forth, Matt, talking about things that we do to keep our minds and just our mental health as best as possible. I have a few things that I prepared, but obviously excited to just talk about a bunch of different stuff that falls into this with you. So first thing that I wanted to talk about that I've done for the last few years, and is actually a really good way to reset and refresh your mind, is to take a break from drinking. Now, I've done this for the last 3 Novembers, just as a part of Movember, which I'm actually not doing this year, but I still am partaking in the no drinking for the month of November, and it actually does feel great. Like, just a little escape from, at the end of the week, maybe you have plans, you're going to a party or hanging out with friends, whatever, you want to have a bunch of drinks. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I was always someone who, back in the day, like, not once would I be the DD, designated driver. I would always want to drink. And it's been really refreshing to see that you can still, and a lot of it was out of fear that, like, I wouldn't have as much fun if I wasn't drinking. And that also helps with, like, being comfortable in that social setting, depending on what it is. So it's been nice to still have all the same plans and not drink, and realize, like, hey, like, I feel just fine being here sober and don't need to drink to be more comfortable in public, all that. So it's also a period of, it can be self-realizing for you depending on how you view alcohol in certain settings, and you just feel better in general. Like I said, like, the next day, for me, it just keeps getting worse and worse every year how bad I feel the next day if I drink a lot. Like, that anxiety too of, like, oh, what did I say or do?
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't really want to be getting, like, blackout drunk on the regular when you're getting up there in age, like late 20s, early 30s, and all that. So that goes away when you don't drink, and yeah, there's a lot of benefits, and it's just not good for you to drink in general, anyway. So it's been a lot. Matt, just want to throw over to you. What are your thoughts on that as a way of, like, easing your mind, giving your mind a different perspective while being a little healthier too?
So it's funny, Eric, what you, drinking, that's like one of my things that helps me fight seasonal depression. That's something I look forward to at the end of a work week. And I agree with everything you said. I'll touch on more, drinking for me, that's something actually that, like, I look forward to on Friday and Saturday night, and, like, it actually helps me knowing, like, okay, I'm not drinking till those 2 nights. And when I say drinking, it's like 2-3 drinks a night. For me, it's a little the opposite. Now, when I go too heavy, I feel like shit the next day. It's terrible, like what you said, and I do need to, like, it's hard to drink Friday, Saturday, and then, like, Sunday not drink at all, knowing you have to work the next day. Like, that goes to your point where, like, yeah, you shouldn't drink at all. Also, your immune system, alcohol is not good for your immune system. We're getting into cold season, flu season. I'm even a little stuffed up right now. Should I even be drinking tonight? No, I probably will have a drink or two. And excuse me to the listeners if I cough. Um, but no, drinking's like, I don't know if I could ever cut back for the month, Eric. It's just something I enjoy doing with my girlfriend while we're watching hockey, a movie. I don't know if that makes me sound like an alcoholic or whatever, but yeah, it's something I look forward to, honestly. And I'll just lay my cards on the table. It's hard for me during the week, like, to abstain from drinking during a work night. Like, I have to wait till like that Friday or Saturday, and it's something, the anticipation's there, but like, I struggle with that. I don't know why. Maybe we'll get into it later, onto like the added stress in my life right now. Here's something that we're talking about, the stress of like the December, January months, February, March. What I find stressful is the whole like the lead up to Christmas to me, Eric. I don't know if this is one thing I want to touch on tonight. The lead up to Christmas for me is super stressful. I get very anxious buying gifts for people and giving out gifts. Like a gift can never be good enough. I struggle with what to buy. It feels like I have no time to go shopping, and it all happens so fast. December flies by. It always does. I know it does. Before I ask you a question, I'm just gonna say, like, for me, one thing that helps me deal with the rush of Christmas and the stress of Christmas is being organized, making lists, and like doing a lot of the shopping ahead of time, and not worrying about like if I bought a good gift for someone, especially my girlfriend. I want to ask you, Eric, do you get like buying stuff for Andy? Do you get like, oh, this isn't good enough, or do you have to buy like 10 things because you don't think it's enough? Like, I want to give my girlfriend like everything I can, and I always feel like I'm never buying enough for. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Eric? Do you get gift giving anxiety like me, or?
Oh yeah, a lot of what you're saying is definitely relatable. It's not easy to buy for your girlfriend. Like, you want to get her the best gifts. You want to get her a lot of things, right? And well, me, like, not to like just be like not really exposing that, but just Andy, like, she's really tough to buy for, and like she normally knows what I'm gonna get her to. Like, she's asked me a bunch of times, like, all right, you're getting me this. I'm like, damn it, like, that's exactly what I'm getting her. But that means I'm getting her a good gift. Like, I'm getting her what she wants, but I'm trying to surprise her too. So it's tough. I think I got some good ones this year. Actually, I did do a lot of my shopping today, time of recording, Black Friday. So I was able to nail a few, but again, like, online shopping, like, I'm holding that in the cart. Like, I have all my information filled out, like the shipping, the credit card, and everything. I'm just hesitating to pull the trigger because I'm like, hopefully she'll like this. You know, it's definitely something that I question in the moment, but ultimately I've had the idea. Oftentimes she's told me she wants something, so I write it down in advance. Like, that's what I try to do now, basically. If something is brought up, I write it down on my phone so I don't forget, and then I come back to it later. That's been a good tip that's helped me to get her something that I think that she's forgotten that she's mentioned in the past. If she's listening right now, maybe she'll be, okay, what have I mentioned over the year that could be coming? So I think I got a couple of good ones, but again, another one, she knows I'm getting her this. I won't even say what it is, but I thought I had a nice surprise, but then she brought it up again a few days ago. I'm like, yeah, all right, yep, I already bought this. So, I mean, but at the same time, I know she'll be happy that I'm getting her what she wants. So it's not always about the surprise at the end. At the same time, it's about just getting a gift that they want, right? So but it is tough to find that balance of surprise and good gift for sure. Trust me, it's something I always try to find that perfect in between. And yeah, as like there's new expenses in life too, right? So like, you don't want to just be spending an absurd amount of money on gifts all the time for Christmas. So that's something we're doing this year. Like, I'm sure most people listening know that, but we're getting married next year, so we're also cutting back on the gifts that we're getting each other for this Christmas. But I still do want to get her like one nice big gift at least there, so which I did buy today as well. So Black Friday weekend's always a good move. But yeah, having those things locked in a list, like you said, in advance is good to have for sure. And then yeah, buying for everyone else too, like the main family members, like not easy. My dad, impossible to buy for. Mom's always gives me good ideas there, so it gives me a list of things, so pretty easy to pick a couple of those items off and maybe mix in a surprise. Zach, tough to buy for too. But anyways, I wanted to get into like full family dynamics, which I guess we just did. But yeah, no, I feel you on the Christmas buying anxiety for sure. And the thing is, like, we're just trying to do
Yeah,
nice things, right? Like, we shouldn't really feel that way. Any gift we get for people who are important in our lives, like, we're putting the thought and effort into it. Like, that should be what counts. But you still feel that pressure to
yeah,
deliver. I know what you're saying.
for sure. And then everybody, like, you don't care what you get. You'd rather give a better gift than receive. Like, I'm not picky with what I receive. I like everything. But then you should be thinking they're thinking the same thing. They're just grateful
Yeah.
that you got them something. So I just hate December for the mad rush. The consumerism is insane. Like, all the stores, grocery shopping. I'm gonna be off for like 11 days,
Nice.
which it sounds super relaxing, but that's like I'm thinking of every meal. Like, every night I'm gonna have to like think of something like I'm gonna have to like. There's a lot of logistics into like now that like you just bought a house, Eric. That was the second thing I was going to touch on is like now that you're a homeowner, like you care a lot more about everything. Like, you have to do a lot of like maintenance. When I was renting, I didn't care as much about like the property as like maintaining the property, but now I'm like all out, and that goes into added stress around the holidays. Winter, there's more stuff to do in my opinion, with the snow and like just making sure everything's like heated properly. I have a fireplace, collecting wood for that, and the way I deal with that stress of the winter season is like just trying to be organized and stay on top of it and not do too much all in one day, but do a little bit each day, because flooding your day with too many tasks or chores is just counterproductive.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just want to ask you, like you're in your new house now, like do you feel, obviously you have pride of ownership, but like are you more like, does it add more stress to your life? Are you like all handling it and very organized?
Yeah, I don't know how much stress it's added, honestly. Like, because like I said, like I've also have like a wedding to plan, and that's kind of taking over a lot
Oh,
of the stress and like or just the energy really towards making sure everything's lined up. Even though it's like 9 months away at this time, almost eight, but that's coming up in my mind too.
wow.
So a house is just like we take care of everything around the house, and we don't really let stuff get too
Mhm.
messy. And like I'd say we're pretty much on top of things in our home, honestly. Like latest thing we've done is like make sure all the drains or the outside like drains are killed, I guess, so that there's no more water, so it doesn't the pipes don't freeze and stuff. Like that was a thing we wanted to make sure we did correctly. Um, because that falls on us as homeowners now. Like if the pipes burst, like we have to pay those fees. So it's yeah, as when you rent, you don't really have to worry about that as much.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, for sure, there's definitely added responsibility though, and like pride of ownership, definitely. But I feel like we just do a good job. I want to say like Andy does a good job at keeping us on track with all those things. She's like, all right, we need to
That's
get
good.
this and that done, and then we do it together. I'm gonna be yeah like putting up Christmas lights soon, but like for me that's not really a
Nice.
stressor, and I don't think that should be for people Christmas lights. But yeah, you want to make sure everything's in order. Um, no, it hasn't been too bad honestly so far, and
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah, decorating can be like that's a fun stressful for me. That's just like hectic, but like it's enjoyable. My household goes all out with the decorations, which I'm like kind of a clean freak, not OCD, but like I like things clean. So when all the decorations are out, I have to pause that part of my brain for a month and be like, accept the mess and stuff will get a little messy for the month. I don't care. It's Christmas. We move on. But
yeah.
like me, it's stressful. Like after Christmas, putting everything back in the totes and taking the tray. Like I want to get that done as fast as possible because it's like I want everything to be clean again. It's weird. That's a little stressful for me. But luckily, I have lots of help. We're
Mm-hmm.
big household, live with a lot of people, so everyone pitches in. Um, did you want me to go into like my first like the thing? I'll go into something that helps me deal. Another
Yeah.
thing that helps
So
me
I was
deal
gonna
with
ask you about like if you did
the
have anything you wanted to
yeah.
share that would help in those situations like that are
Oh,
stressful.
for sure. For sure, when I'm stressed out during the seasonal months, I work out, like I'm still very consistently working out.
Nice.
Last year in the winter, I didn't miss a workout. Like I'd go in the garage, winter coat, my toque on, my gloves on, and do my workout in the cold. I don't care. It's such a big stress reliever because when I'm working out, I'm not thinking of like I'm clearing my brain basically. And it's such a cliche, like oh, work out, kill the stress. But like if you can get a gym membership, perfect time of the year to get one because you're warm indoors. I just don't have that option, so I do it in my garage. But working out is very clears my head. Like I mentioned in the intro, playing hockey. I play hockey once a week, and for that 1 hour, I don't think about anything but about stopping the opponent, scoring, making nice passes. So like sports, working out, obviously super common answer, but like it needs to be repeated. It's very crucial for your mental health, in my opinion, having a hobby, having activities. I plan my workouts. I do it all the time in the morning on my days off, 4 days a week, and it's great, Eric. I mean, are you continuing? What about you?
Yeah, working out is definitely something that we got back into in August, and then now, like actually lately, has been a little tougher to find that extra motivation. But today I did a workout at lunch, and I actually felt fantastic during and after
Nice.
as well. I'm like, all right, this is why like you can't just drop this habit there, even though I don't really want to all the time there. It's good as soon as you're back into it. It is good. So definitely, like if you're like me in this situation where like you were very consistent with it every 2 days or so, you're working out and then felt like you were making progress, but then just lose that spark to want to push through because it's so easy to then never want to work out again, right? So for
True.
me, it's always been like that, like peaks and valleys with wanting to work out, and I found myself like at the start of a valley, but I'm gonna have to climb out of it. And listeners just keep me accountable, message me every 2 days, like, hey, you working out today? Like, just let me know, and I'll I'll get back to it. But I would definitely agree that working out is a classic, and it's classic for a reason for sure. Same with like you said, exercise, sports, going out for a walk at lunch. Like that's again something I used to do all the time. Stopped, do again, but good to just keep that as a constant habit and hobby, if you will. So because yeah, so when you're not working out, Matt, like when you have a lot of these things to do at home and things can be hectic, do you have something that you escape to that's kind of your own? Is the pod that? Do you do something else that has like been a nice escape for you, or is working out that for you?
Yeah, I when I need to like step back, everything's crazy and a little busy and hectic when everyone's in the household, like all six of us, and I have a couple options for sure. I have my own space in my bedroom, and also we have like a computer room, and I've been playing a little bit of a computer video game recently, and that's a good stress reliever. But my main one though is literally, I mean, you guys know me. I'm into my movies like
Yeah.
crazy. Is to like go in my bedroom and there's a couch in there, and I just sit on the couch, watch a movie that I've seen before, and that just puts a
Nice.
smile on my face. Also, listening to podcasts, huge. Like I'll have an earbud in while doing the dishes, cleaning, and that's actually like makes me enjoy what I'm doing, and I don't have to. I can just do my own thing without being disturbed. So like just listening to podcast music, but really like watching a movie by myself, like no one I live with will watch the same movies as me. I'm very, my taste is
Yeah.
eclectic. So like watching my movies is huge. Anybody like Eric, you too, like your time alone sometimes is super. You cherish it, right? You don't have to do everything with Andy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do everything with Mackenzie. Like I cherish my alone time, and that is stress free. Like that clears the stress out of my brain. Even if like 1 hour at night where Mackenzie's putting her daughter to bed, I get that hour by myself, and I can
Mm-hmm.
just watch hockey and wind down from the day, and that's huge right there. And then we can hang out after. So
Yeah.
alone time with my movies, music, podcasts, huge. Do you get that? Do you cherish that alone time too, Eric? Like you do your own thing sometimes?
Yeah, for sure. Like I watch my movies, TV shows on my own. Andy and I don't watch the same kind of shows or movies at all. Like there's some that overlap, but for the most part, I just have my own. She has her own, which is fine. And yeah, I'll just watch whatever anime I'm into for this week, and then I get to the next one the next week. So it's all good, and yeah, so that is good to have for sure. Like alone time, definitely necessary, and I would also recommend, and something that I've gotten into lately, and something I look for basically every year. I think I've already said on the pod, but I do like trying like one new thing every year just to see if it can spark a interest. And I would recommend like just trying different things to see if you can develop a hobby in there as well. So mine recently for the last like almost 2 months has been just writing a blog, and this definitely falls in line with who I am as a person. Like I do like to write. I've talked about on the pod before. It's a goal of mine to eventually write a book, and blog is like a short format post that I can write one a day or one every 2 days is kind of what I aim to do. And it's covering the sins. It's actually been, the blog has been generous enough to sponsor our podcast, senatorssermon.wordpress.com. Check it out. I'm sure there's going to be an ad in here somewhere, probably to start the episode. So I would recommend that, like just trying something new. It can see if it can become a hobby, and then that's something you can also do every other day or maybe every day depending on what it is. And that's a good way to escape from what's happening in life if you're overwhelmed because of work or the holiday schedule is getting crazy. For me, the blog, it takes like an hour or so, maybe a bit more, to write and review and then edit and publish. But it's a great little time for myself where I can at the same time listen to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 soundtrack. And then I'm just dialed in, I'm writing, creatively being stimulated. That's also something that's important for me personally. Like I do not like just being on autopilot and whatever I'm doing. I do like looking for new things. So that gives me that. And I feel like if you have any sort of interest, the blog I write is covering the Ottawa Senators, so, which is a passion of mine. And if you can find that, if you have some, everyone likes something, everyone's very passionate about at least one thing in life. And if you do like to write, I would say blog, go for it. But anything, honestly, like anything that can let you tap into what you like and care about, or like movie reviewing, for example, on Letterboxd. Like that's something I've done for years now, and is a form of blogging, I guess. It's even shorter than a blog. It's like 3-4 paragraphs. I love doing that too. So just keeping as many options open for little things you can do creatively, I think, is very important, honestly.
That's great, Eric. I read your blogs. They're really like the fact that, like, to me, I'm like, oh, he's probably whipping this in like 10-15 minutes because I know like you're a good writer, but like you do put a lot of time. That's a lot of hard work. I give you kudos, and you're very consistent with them. Like you've put out already a lot, and the season's just started. That's great. You're right. There's something everybody like is passionate about something. There's always something. There's no one that's like. There's always something you can write about or study on. Like if your thing, like watch YouTube videos on it. Like there's like the internet has everything, guys. Like you can research what you love and then gain even more knowledge. I'm not particularly a good writer, so it's not like I'm going to start writing about movies. I have thought of it back in the day, but what I do is I just I can watch documentaries or YouTube videos talking about movies, or all my Instagram feed is littered with movie stuff, and I like to see people's reviews. And Letterboxd, I love vlogging movies. I just write, it's just like a diary for me. It's just to see what I've watched for the month. Love reading your reviews too, Eric, and other people's reviews. And hockey, like I love keeping up with the Senators, fantasy hockey. One thing, I'll mention this one thing, the Tim Hortons app has like a hockey player challenge where every night you can pick 3 players to score, and I've been doing pretty well on that.
Nice.
And I love, like, me and my coworkers, we always talk about it, and we're always texting each other, who are you going to pick tonight to score? And there's a lot of strategy going on there, so that's another thing to look forward to. The more things to distract me, instead of thinking about, like, driving on snow and, like, will there be an ice storm this year that'll fell more trees on my property? Like, I don't want to think about that stuff. I want to think about all the good stuff. So that's important. One thing, like, this is another tactic I use, and this is like last resort. This is when I'm like, don't want to like blow up or lash out at anyone or I get mad. This is what I do, guys. You just take 10 deep breaths. I pick up my phone and I call either my mom or my sister or my dad. I just talk to one of my family members, and after like 5-10 minutes of talking to them, I'm fine. Like, I'm like, oh, why was I freaking out? And I freak out over a bunch of stuff, guys. Like stupid things, like very stupid things, miscommunications or stuff with at work or with what's going on at home. But then talking to my mom, my dad, or my sister, usually my mom's my first option, obviously. I feel so much better, and it kind of distracts me. And then I'm like, I realize how ridiculous my little tantrums were. And it doesn't have to be like a out loud tantrum. It could all be going in your head, like you're just panicking on the inside, which is what I do, and I don't communicate that. But yeah, calling your parents, family member, even a good friend, that's like my last resort. But it always works. You have any experience with that, Eric?
I mean, I've for sure called my parents whenever like I needed guidance or someone to calm me down or just to talk about stuff. Definitely, it's not something I do nowadays as much, but definitely something that is a great tactic to help calm yourself down and just logically go through whatever you're feeling and get their opinion. For sure, I've done that, and just to get their input, opinion. They know more than us. They've lived through a lot and have been in similar situations too. So no, I definitely ask for my parents' input on stuff where like I'm freaking out or not knowing what to do. 100%. And I don't really have like an example off the top here of when the last time I did, but that's a great technique for sure. And just talking to anybody about it really would is a good way to make you realize, okay, like I'm blowing this up in my head a little more than it actually is, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can think of times where that's happened. Not gonna say now, but
Yeah.
it is. It's definitely relatable for sure. Talking it out. That's what I do. Like that's why I write out what I think. Honestly, like, stuff that's in my head. It is good to write out. Like I've said on the pod before. Like I journal almost every day. I try to, and it's a good way to get your thoughts out. That if you're having some negative thoughts, unsure about certain things, definitely write it out and you make sense of it in writing. Like you have more time to process what you're feeling and thinking, and then when you write out, like, okay, like I'm overreacted at this situation, or really, okay, it wasn't that serious, it wasn't meant to be taken in this context, kind of thing. So I think that's another good tactic to think about what you're feeling and thinking and what happened in your day. Like you can kind of take like a bird's eye view of events instead of just like bottling it all up to yourself and not really knowing how to process emotions and stuff. So I found that that's been helpful for me as well to help understand and make sense of how you're feeling. I would recommend that as well.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, like so many times, like this is just advice. Like so many times, I've been like blind to like the obvious thing in front of me, or like freaking out over nothing. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so many times I've regretted like sending either a text message or something I've said or said when you're emotional. That's when you should shut the hell up, because whatever you're saying makes no sense and it's just said out of emotion. When really the key to life is to master your emotions and not like overreact and be calm, and then a solution always presents itself or a problem always gets fixed. This still happens to me every day, guys. Even though I know all this, I still like I'm not able to always see clearly and see the light all the time, but it's been getting better over the years. And my advice is just to like, whatever you want to send, like that not hateful, but like if you want to send that message or say something, just wait before saying it.
Sleep on it.
Because this is like, can be a stressful time of year, and it can be, you're at home more, there's more potential arguments with other people, coworkers. I live with 5 other people, so it's not like, it's not all peaches, sunshines and roses like 24/7. There's obviously like arguments and stuff that break out, but nothing too serious. I'm just saying, like, we're all human. So yeah, just take that time and be patient.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of being like kind of cooped up at home sometimes, like me, for example, like I work at home most of the time. I don't go in the office that often, so I don't see as many people. And even if you do see a lot of people, like in your regular going to work, let's say you go in the office 5 times a week, you're seeing like your regulars every single day, you have those human interactions, great. I would also recommend to maybe if it's either going out of your way to reach out to someone that you haven't seen in a while, ask like, hey, do you want to have a coffee Saturday morning? Do you want to have dinner Tuesday night? Mix it up a little bit, see some different people too, to make so that you're not in those situations with the people that you see all the time and being fed up with like only seeing those people, and then eventually like, something could blow up because you've just been confined to seeing like the same handful of people or whatever the situation may be. I feel like getting out and seeing a few different people will just, that's an automatic mood enhancer to be around different people that you might have not seen in a little bit, and you have a great night or morning or whatever it ends up being, and you feel energized because of it, and then the next day at work your energy is going to be completely different than what it was on that day, where maybe for 5 days in a row you're like, ugh, like I'm seeing Bob again today and like he's going to set me off or whatever. Then you see him the next morning like, hey Bobby, how's it going? So I feel like that's a good way also to relax a bit, and first of all get some good stories too, just hanging out with a person you haven't seen in a little bit. So I'd recommend that, reaching out to someone you haven't seen or talked to in a while. And like, you're not going to be texting everybody like, oh, let's have dinner. Like that could get exhausting for you, and then the people might not all want to do something to begin with. But if you can do that, and I feel like you'll all be better for it as a result. Recommendation.
That's a great recommendation, Eric. I was gonna just say I'm bad for this, but like reaching out to an old friend or coworker I haven't talked to in a while. That these are the perfect months for that. They're not going to be as busy unless they're going on trips. Everyone has a little bit more spare time. There's less activities to do. And I'm admittedly very poor at keeping touch with old friends or coworkers actually. I'm glad you mentioned that, Eric. That's giving me the kick in the butt to like do better at that, because there are some days where I'm just lazy and I should be like stimulating my brain, maybe just talking to someone over the phone or just like messaging someone I haven't talked to in over a year. So that's good. I know as adults, like we're busy. We're not going to have dinner with a different couple every weekend, like you said. But like once in a while, even if you see them twice a year, dinner twice a year, that's better than zero. And perfect months to do that actually. Maybe not during the Christmas time, but after January, February, March, invite people over, do a dinner.
Definitely.
Great idea. Hey, a board game night. We did that once last year, me and Mackenzie. We invited another couple over and we played games all night. It was a blast, but we haven't done it since. Just drinks and game night, yeah.
Game night's a great night for sure. I love playing games. It can get a little competitive at times for better or worse, but it is fun to like make it like a team thing too, and good bonding. You get good stories out of it for sure. That's something we don't really do as much as we should. I feel like having a game too at an outing just automatically augments the evening, instead of just like, oh, let's have our dinner and mulled wine, and I need a little code words in there, little catchphrase action, maybe some pool. So all those things are good stuff. Yeah, agreed. That's good stuff. Can be a lot though. It can be taxing to always be reaching out to people and being like, hey, like, what's going on? Like that could be draining for you too. So it's again finding that balance of reach out to a few people, then fall back for a bit, see if anything comes out to you. You send out some love to the universe, maybe it'll give some back to you. And I feel like what you said is true, that December, don't even bother. January, February, those are the dark months. I'll speak for myself anyways. You have sometimes little to no motivation at work to do anything because it's so dreary. You got no vacation coming up. It's just a grind, no holidays. The days are short. Especially when you used to go in the office. My God, back in the day, I remember the morale was at an all-time low, especially because you're peaking coming off Christmas, which, huge Christmas guy. I love the holidays. It's a big peaks and valleys situation where you're buzzing. Literally, you're just downing drinks during the holiday season. And then after that, you're just like, there's not much going on. You've built all your Lego sets, your Chamber of Secrets is all good to go. So you just don't have the same motivation anymore. But like, there's good ways to find that motivation though, which I feel like we've been giving a lot of good tips for that, and staying upbeat during that time. But yeah, reaching out to people is key for sure.
It really is the worst month, actually. Now that I think of it, like I'm going to work in the dark, coming back in the dark,
Yep.
which is the case now too. But just the high of the Christmas holidays, and then just January 2nd or 3rd, whenever you get back to work. Oh, I hate it. I dread it. And that's one too. Like I got a big commute to work every day, and like every day it's a little stressful. Like knowing there's a snowstorm or a windstorm, like something that'll make my drive stressful. Like that to me, like I have to use all the tricks in the book to get over winter driving, which is a huge stress by itself. Is a huge stress inducer. Like me, it's I have albums I listen to only when it's like a snowstorm. Like I listen to like my feel good best music I have on my phone when it's like that, to distract me from like I'm going 60 kilometers an hour for like an hour and a half. So like it's very tedious, and I get such an adrenaline rush. We all do when we're driving in on snow. So that month is really terrible for me.
So
Also, like I'm so yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so keep a The Thing-esque playlist for driving whenever you're in those conditions. Just run that back, and you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. I have very specific. It's because last year I listened to this music during the snowstorm, so like I'm like, okay, this year I'll do the same because it worked. Like this is my magic. Like this is my immunity from veering off the road. But honestly, my weeks have been flying by. I feel like winter's gonna go by fast too, because summer did. I just turned 32, guys, and like life is just going by even faster. And Eric, like I know it's a cliche, but like man, in my 30s now, my 30s are just flying by. I feel like ever since COVID started, everything's been jumped up to cranked up to 11 in terms of life passing me by. It sucks, but I'm trying to enjoy every day. I remember in high school we thought a 6-hour day was like the end of the world, super long, like it dragged, and now like 6 hours is nothing. I can do that like with my eyes closed. Just perspective, I guess. But no, I have a lot of stuff I use. I use every trick in the book to get through January, February, March, and it involves distracting myself with working out, like I said, films, music, spending time with loved ones. Yeah, that's basically what I have for like getting through the winter months. Or did you have any like tips?
Yeah,
or?
I have a couple more. So one that Andy and I just did last weekend, which was great, 100% recommend, and would probably be great for either a weekend in January or February. You might have seen these online. They're called like luxury domes out in the woods. It's like glamping style. Yurting, I think, is another expression for it. Don't quote me on that. But definitely glamping and like luxury domes. That's what they're called. Mont Tremblant has these. The ones we went to were in off like close to Shawville, so like an hour and a half out of from Orleans anyway. So actually wouldn't be too far for you. But it's a nice escape out in the woods, and it's like a dome, basically like a white dome that's very nice. Like it's called a luxury dome, so you can figure that it's pretty nice inside, but pretty reasonably priced compared to the ones in Mont Tremblant anyways. And it's a nice getaway away from society, where like you have your fireplace, your bed, your like a small kitchenette, there's a lake behind you, hot tub, and a really, really nice escape from society. And just like we did puzzles out there, played games, just took it really easy. Like no, like okay, we have to do this, go for a walk, whatever. It was just take it easy, chill. Really nice. Like we're definitely going to do that again. It could be something you do. There's 3 domes there, like one next to the other. So there were other couples and groups who were staying there the nights that we were there as well. And if you were to do this with like a few other couples or just friends, you all rent them out and just split the cost. That'd be a good activity too. But just for a nice couples getaway, strong recommend. I loved it. Like I was just always had a fire going, just tending to that. it's a good time, and in the minimalistic setting too, you feel like you don't need as much. Like, yeah, there was Wi-Fi in there, and we still had access to our phones and stuff, but it was nice.
Mhm.
Like, I read so much out there too. I finished the Will Smith book, and was gonna recommend another book later that I did a lot of damage in there. So just really chill, and during those 2 months, perfect time to get away. Now you want to spice things up, get out of the house for a few days. Luxury Dome in Pontiac is the area, so it's called like Hill House Domes. Not haunted as far as I can tell,
Oh.
but um, yeah, strong recommend.
Wow, I didn't even. That's something that I was not even aware of. That's great. I'm glad you mentioned like um, take time for yourself. Like me and Mackenzie, like where she has a 5 year old, we have a 5 year old to look after, right? So we don't always take the time for ourselves to do things. You know, date night's rare, and we don't do things. We do things as like a three. We do things with
Yeah.
her all the time, right? So it'd be a nice getaway for just her and I to just chill and not have to worry about anything. Yeah, my like I'm telling you all these things I get to do to relax like by myself, but like most of my time is spent looking after a 5 year old, which is great. She's absolutely incredible, super well behaved. Other than watching every day the Super Mario Brothers movie, I've seen that movie like once a day. I know the
Really, okay.
dialogue.
I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
that. I've seen you've
yeah.
reviewed it like 4 times.
Yeah, and I could pop it every day on Letterboxd. I'm gonna stop logging it in now because I keep giving it 3.5 stars. It's a fun movie, but I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
lost all its charm, or what?
I was gonna say, like, if you're gonna, I thought you, if you're logging it so many times, like maybe the ratings changed. I don't know, but
No,
okay,
still a 7 out of 10 or a 3.5.
yeah,
Like it's solid, and Jack Black is the like makes the movie as Bowser. But anyways, like other than rewatching the same movie over and over again, which whatever it makes her happy. She likes reciting the dialogue too, and it's a fun
oh,
movie to watch with her. And it could be worse.
if
Like most of my time is spent with her, and it makes everything go by faster too. Actually,
mm,
so I don't have a ton of free time. That getaway you said though sounds great. Just a hot tub and not doing too much, just relaxing,
yeah,
reading. I don't have a lot of reading time anymore. I choose movies over reading. So good call, Eric. Curious to see what your last thing is.
well, I mean, one of them was reading. Actually, get back into reading. Definitely
Okay.
recommend because again, to take a break from all the screen time. Like I'm always in front of a screen with my work, right? Like I work in front of a computer, and right now pod and then blog, computer, uh, watch TV, watch movies, all that, play video games. Like it's always a screen, phone always in front of me too. So reading is a full-on escape from that. I'd say like it's an easy one too, and it's not groundbreaking by any means, but it does feel good to put an hour, half hour even aside to just read either a couple of chapters in a John le Carré novel or in someone's autobiography, right? So it's you you're learning, you're keeping your mind sharp. I've enjoyed it a lot. Again, I feel like just everything with me is in like cyclical. I'm like go hard at one thing for like a month, then I stop for like three. But reading's a good habit, and I would obviously recommend it to anybody. Some people don't have as much patience for it. Shout out Mick Jenkins, but they just want to be like stimulated watching videos on their phones or watching a movie, all that. But I would say like devote some time to reading. It's good for you, and you feel good doing it. So I would say that reading for sure. But yeah, and back to your idea, your what you were saying though about hard to find time for yourselves. I think that is important though, like to carve out if it's like a date night going out for a few hours, like you couples need that, and you have fun on a night out, right? Doing something different, try a new restaurant out, just do a little something like go. I don't know, don't really go anywhere other than restaurants for dates, but restaurant always plays. That's why I said though the weekend getaway. If you can spin it, like it's a nice escape. Yeah.
Exactly, because we don't get a lot of date nights. When we do get one, we cherish it so much, and it's even better. Like everything's enhanced. Like we're going to the Sens game on December 2nd against Seattle. We're gonna have dinner and
Mm.
before and go see the Sens play. Like that's our date night, and it
Right.
doesn't happen often. But like we're gonna like really love that evening We don't get a lot of it, so when we do get it, when we do get that opportunity, we freaking tackle. We enjoy it fully. But yeah, other than that, like I know these are the dark months, and right now it's like the calm before the Christmas storm. But like at the end of the day, if you do things you enjoy, you're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
I'm lucky. Like I'm surrounded by people. Like I don't even have the time to like self-reflect and be like, oh, I'm depressed about this or I'm anxious about this, because I have a big support system and people help me out. I don't have to do anything alone, which is great. I don't have time to think about like to dwell on too many things. I'm always busy doing stuff. So that for me that works. I don't know if I was living alone still, no, like single, might be a hell of a lot tougher. And that's when you really have to like have some friends and family helping you and a lot of hobbies, right, Eric? So
Shots
right
fired
now,
at
like
those
it's a lot
listeners,
easier
yeah.
for me to handle these months. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a lot going on for sure. That me, the big thing that is a factor is like the work for me. Like I'm just trying to find always like motivation and stuff at all times. Not always easy, especially like working at home. Sometimes like it can get long, but I do what I can to keep busy and just power through, do as best I can. But yeah, sometimes. So for me, I
Yeah,
definitely feel that like
exactly.
there are some tough stretches, especially in these months. I feel it more like during the summer, spring, fall, not as much. But yeah, winter. I'm not gonna lie and act like it's always great all the time with me at work and stuff there. So it's good to do all the things that we did, and even that is not like a guarantee that you're gonna feel spectacular all the time. Like it's, I feel like it's just normal to have some
Yeah,
down times where you're a bit more down, right? But overall, I'm thankful that me too. Like I have a good support system. Very thankful for my family and just everyone who is around to help and be there to talk about and do stuff with. Like those are the important things, right? And like we did get some submissions for things to do to like help get through the tougher months. So starting at the top, the first one was from dedicated dedicated question answer. I would say, I don't know if he listens to the pod, but give him a shout out here, Ron Antoine, with possibly the submission of a lifetime. I don't know if we've gotten anything as good as this, but the question that was posed exactly was tips and tricks to stay in a good headspace during the colder months. So his submission was make love to your spouse, smiley face, which I can't argue with that. It's a classic.
nope. I
But
mean, you can't. It's not like. Sure, I don't. I'm speechless.
yeah, right, exactly. I've had time to sit on this response. I don't even have something funny or clever to say, but I'm just gonna let Ron cook with this one. So thank you for the submission. The next one was from my mom. So she submitted, enjoy the great outdoors, snowshoeing, skiing, walks, skating. Fresh air is awesome for, hold up, I have to read the rest. I think cut off. For, I think your mind, something along those lines, but for your mental health. That was the rest of the sentence. So yeah, all those things I love doing. Snowshoeing, not so much, but skiing, great time. Walks, skating, obviously, fresh air, all good stuff. I do want to get back into the skiing game. It's been at least a few years since we've gone, so I would want to do that actually this winter. So if anyone does want to ski, just let me know. I'd be down. I don't have my own skis. I just rent them. Great time. I love doing that. Night skiing, always fun. So yeah, good submission.
It's a great submission. I myself will probably never ski again.
Great.
It's to me, it's not worth it risking an injury, and I won't be able to work if I hurt myself. So there's no way that's happening. Skating, public skating, we did a lot last year. We were teaching the 5-year-old we taught her to skate a little bit, and this year I think she'll be even better because she's pretty good out there on the rink. So like I love teaching her to skate. Last year we're gonna hit up all the public skating we can. And yeah, great submission.
Mm-hmm. So the next one is from the homie Justin Mocktinger. So he said, staying in touch with friends and family, big help. That's a classic that we've gone over as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I've said, if you haven't talked to some either family members or friends in a long time, just shoot them a text. There's absolutely no harm and a lot of upside to come from it as well for both yourself and the person or people that you're reaching out to. Everyone likes to be checked in on, and you don't even have to necessarily just talk about yourself as well. It's just maybe show some interest in them, and then that creates some conversation, and you have some maybe laughs, or they'll just be like, "Oh, thanks a lot for checking in. I appreciate that." Blah blah, and that's it. And you've done a nice act of kindness. It's kind of like the gift giving. It's not necessarily about wanting to give to receive. It's just to be doing something nice to someone else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I echo everything you said, Eric.
Another hint before we get to the next submission is just, this I guess is oxymoron saying I just said that you should reach out to people, which for the most part is done through your phone. I hate going on my phone because I automatically go on the fantasy hockey app and then I refresh and just see that I keep losing points. Very depressing. So that's another thing that's just killing my mood these days is the friggin' how poorly I'm doing in the pool. But thankfully I have a nice, lovely cat to make me feel better in this moment. She knew to jump up and get my attention, so she knows. But yeah, fantasy hockey is just killing me this year. Yeah. So thanks, Justin. Next submission was from former guest Kristen Ud. She said, daily jam session with my favorite songs. Doesn't matter if it's driving, shower, cooking. One sec. Yeah, I guess that was it. Driving, shower, cooking. Anything. Jam sesh with songs.
Yeah, every day driving to work, listening to my favorite music. It's a classic advice. I love it.
Yeah, I've been slacking on music these days. I think I said it last pod too, but kind of back into it. A few albums that dropped today. I've listened to a lot of rap albums this year, but list is like tough to make. It's there hasn't been that many like albums that I've loved like automatic like yep, this is a top 10 or so. I have my albums that I truly love and like know where they stand, but it's really filling out those like maybe bottom 5 that's gonna be like, okay, like this could go in here, like it's a good album, but it's not like a slam dunk where I've had in the past where it was like an easy like, yeah, these 10 like no brainer, whereas this year is gonna be like, yeah, this album, throw it in there.
Yeah,
I might look back on this year though with having listened to albums down the road and be like, wow, this was amazing. I can't believe I only listened to this once or twice and dismissed it kind of thing. So, like, there's been a lot that I've liked, don't get me wrong, but it's just been a little different, I feel like, the albums that have dropped. Not as many. I feel like it's fair to say not as many, like, classics this year.
None that jump out right away. I agree with you, Eric. I've had to re-listen a lot and then be like, oh, it is a really solid album. 8 out of 10. It's like they're solid, but nothing like no mud mouths or like
yeah,
stuff
exactly.
like from the past where it jumped out.
Yeah.
But for sure, no, my list is pretty much. I just have to tweak a couple things. Like I'm working on my 3 lists, obviously: TV show, movie, music.
Oh.
So like that's been fun to do, and you guys are gonna get those 3 shows all individually, I believe, coming up in the next 2 months. So that's something to look forward to. Like. List building, list making.
Yeah, more
Keeps
easy conversations.
A yearly grind. Yeah.
No, TV shows is going to be so hard to. I have so many shows that I've absolutely loved. I don't even know what my number 1 is going to be. There's like 3 that are legit number 1 contenders. So, and that's the thing. I'm not going to rewatch these shows start to finish and be like, okay, it's this one. I'm just. And the thing is, it's all about point in time and recency bias. For example, like The Last of Us, that dropped in early January. I loved it at the time, but now it's like, it's so far in the past, I'm like, oh, compared to something that just dropped, like Loki, for example, that's so recent in my mind, where do they stack up? That's going to be where it's tough for me to, I'll have to just think about it and be like, okay, objectively, like, this is what the one I like the most and all that. So, anyways, little sneak peek at 2 that might be on my list at the end of the year. But, yeah, it's fun.
Were there any more submissions?
No, that was all. So thank you to everybody who submitted them. What was I going to say? Yeah, music, I guess we did cover on that. So yeah, no, thanks everybody for the submissions. Always love when you get in the mixer there, and yeah, so a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I think we gave a good amount
Yeah.
of things there for recommendations for mental health, and again, like we like to open and create dialogue with our pods too. Like we do our lighthearted ones with TV show coverage, where it's easy to share opinions and talk about like what we think happened in a show, like Loki, for example. But then these kind of pods, it's yeah, more important to talk about, honestly, because this affects everybody. Like everyone can relate to what we're talking about, and if you're going through something, or not even necessarily going through something, if you just want to talk to somebody, like anytime, just hit us up, dare I say, and you can get an easy conversation of your own, one on one, and see where it goes. So that's all I wanted to say on that. It's off the dome.
Wow, that's poetic. I don't know what this. I agree with everything you said. Yeah, thank you everybody who submitted an answer. All good choices, all good advice, I should say. And did you want to throw a couple? You said like not music because you're. Sorry.
Perhaps.
You want to throw a couple movies or TV shows, Eric?
Sure. And actually, before
Random
that,
Recs.
if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that I'm rocking not only an Easy Conversations hoodie, but also Easy Conversations hat. So those are, it's Black Friday. I figured I'd do some shameless promotion. Again, hit me up if you want to buy some merch. Might hit you with a discount code. Who knows? Probably not though. And if you want something, just let me know. Anything and everything is on the table. Really, we got polos, t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, any color, hat, toque. We can make it happen. Mugs. So let me know, and we can work a little something out. So that's it. Easy Conversations merch segment over. Random recommendations segment beginning now. So yeah, random recommendations. Like I said earlier, I finished my Will Smith book. Loved it. Definitely read that if you want. I read another autobiography called Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. Loved this book. Very easy read, honestly. And I love just seeing what he went through, and like from the process of becoming a child actor to then the fame of Harry Potter, which is not necessarily what you might expect, honestly. How his life panned out from the moment he was hired as or started portraying Draco Malfoy to when he became an adult, and just the troubles that he had in his life. And he actually touches on mental health a lot in there, especially near the end of the book. Very interesting stuff, and just goes over like his, I'd say, more extreme hardships than, well, myself anyways, have gone through in life. So really eye-opening stuff, and I love how it was written. That's what I love about autobiographies. You right away you have the voice of the person who's written it in your mind, kind of narrating. And when they have like a paragraph and then one line as like a punchline to a joke or something, and then right back to the next paragraph, I love that. It's a great literary structure to follow, and obviously me as honing my skills as a writer, like I do eat that stuff up big time. But if you're interested in Harry Potter, strong recommend Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. I just rented it at the library. Very short book. It was like just under 300 pages. Crushed it in like a few days. Very easy to read. So yeah, good rec.
It's funny, I saw that book at Chapters or Indigo the other day when I was browsing, so, and it piqued my interest, so it's good to know that it's a good read.
Yeah, I liked it.
Sweet. I haven't read in a while, so nothing there, but I have one show and one movie. The show you've watched, based off your recommendation, I watched it, so Gen V on Amazon Prime. Really enjoyed it, actually. It's super,
Nice.
like, I watched it almost, like, I binged it. It was very easy for me to watch. If you like The Boys, you'll like Gen V. Great, like, over-the-top action and, like, just ridiculousness, actually. And that, like, I like that kind of stuff. So, kind of sets up, too, for what we're going to see with The Boys. Like what you said, Eric, last time, you kind of have to watch Gen V to see what the next Boys season is going to be like. Thoroughly liked it. No high art or high, like, you're not going to be overthinking anything. It's super simple, easy to follow, cool characters. Really enjoyed Gen V, Eric, so good recommendation.
Yeah, right on. Glad you liked it. I do have one thing on Gen V though. I feel like there's the where it like falters, I guess, in comparison to the boys is I feel like the actors in general just being younger actors not as strong as what we see in the boys. Specifically, there's the two characters and I forget their names, but it's the son of, well, basically the guy who becomes the number one superhero and then
Yeah.
Golden Boy's girlfriend. I don't think they're good actors at all. Especially later in the season, like some of their lines were just bad,
Cringe.
and
Yeah.
that also falls on the writing as well. But overall, love the show. Big fan of like Cricket. She was the best character in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Loved her too.
Yeah,
Pretty cute too. Easy to watch.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, it has like a Degrassi vibe, like a teenage soap opera vibe too sometimes. But it's in the boys' universe, so it was just more enjoyable to watch. Yeah. Do you have any shows, Eric?
Yeah, I've just started up this show on Netflix called Pluto. I don't know if you've heard of this, Matt.
Nope.
Okay, so it's actually an anime. So I'm watching it in Japanese. It's or not an adaptation. It's a story arc in the very popular, like one of you probably have seen this character before called Adam or Astro Boy. That's what he's called. It's like a very famous Japanese manga, and this character, one of the arcs is called Pluto in it. Like Pluto is the name of the villain. So it's a specific storyline that they're adapting from this Astro Boy slash Adam manga. Very good so far. 3 episodes in, hour-long episodes, so it's kind of a commit, especially for anime. They're usually like 20 so minutes, but it had very high praise from people online, and the quality is really good. Like I love that hand-drawn style animated art myself, so would recommend. It's how I've seen it described, and I would agree, is it's a mix of Blade Runner 2049 and True Detective. So that's kind of the vibe that you're getting in this show. Like that's not inaccurate. So it's a detective style show following robots. Basically, it's robots in society, but they look like humans kind of thing. So they're very advanced, it's futuristic, and just what you can do with anime is so far and beyond what you can do with like live action shows, right? Like obviously show movies like Blade Runner 2049, the special effects are off the hook. And great movie as well, from what people say. I thought it was okay. I'd have to rewatch it, but
Yeah.
this is like I just love the look and feel of the show, and like obviously you throw in a bit of mystery in there, True Detective style. I think it's really good stuff. So 3 episodes in so far. Looking forward to seeing how it wraps up. But it's gotten a lot of love online, so I would recommend that. Pluto on Netflix. If you want to dabble, you can always just watch it dubbed as well. Like on Netflix, you can watch in any language you want. So if the Japanese is kind of a deal breaker, just watch in English. I did for a bit. I was like, I just want to see how this sounds. I threw on the dubbed. Like, okay. But then I went back to Japanese. You just have to focus more.
You hooked me in, Eric, with basically the setting, the atmosphere, like that cyberpunky, futuristic film noir, like Blade Runner, basically. As soon as you said that, I'm gonna have to check that out actually because that sounds like right up my alley. Yeah, it's just like 1 hour, 8 episodes, one season. What's how much is out so far?
Yeah, so full season's out. It's a new show, 2023. So maybe be on the lookout for that. And yeah, one season, 8 episodes exactly.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll have like my TV show that I pretty much know what my top 10 is, but that might that might jumble everything up. So
Who knows?
sweet. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah.
I have one movie to talk about on Netflix based on a true story, and I didn't know anything about this. I just clicked on it because it had two fantastic actresses in it. The movie in question is Naiad on Netflix, starring Jodie Foster and Annette Bening. She plays Annette Bening plays a real life like marathon swimmer, Diane Naiad, and she's like crazy. Like she'll swim like for over 24-hour periods at a time, and like her goal is to swim from Cuba to Florida. It's like a freaking 86. You're swimming for like 3 days straight, being fed like in the water and everything. It's pretty crazy what these marathon swimmers do. A world I had no idea existed, by the way. I didn't even know people did this for like achievements or a sport. I knew nothing about this movie. It's a really good movie, inspirational, not too mushy or sappy. Jodie Foster and Annette Bening are great actresses, and they excel in this movie. You know, their banter, their buddiness in the movie is awesome. They're great friends. This is all based on a true story. I didn't know anything about it, though. I just went in blind, and I truly, really liked it, and I recommend everyone check it out if you're interested. It's just a great drama.
Okay, right on. I'd not heard of this. Naiad. Okay, I like Annette Bening and Jodie Foster. I think Jodie Foster is the new lead, actually, funnily enough, in True Detective Season 4.
Oh.
Coming out next year, I believe. So, or maybe it's this winter. But right on. Okay, nice. Yeah, I was just looking at my like letterbox, and I watched 2 movies recently. None that I would recommend. I recommended one last episode before watching it, and it turned out to be a mistake for me anyways. Very controversial. And I don't know, maybe it ends up on your top 10 list, Matt, of the year. I was thinking about that. I go, what if Matt? And you know what? If you do, hey, I'm in the minority and not really having enjoyed The Killer, but I wasn't a huge fan. And anyways, that's I said my take on it online. I just feel like it lacked personality. That was a big thing for me. Like, I was never invested in this character and his quest to harm those who had harmed his girlfriend or wife, which wasn't really clear what their relationship was. But I never really cared that she was in the hospital, and then B, that he was on this hell-bent quest of getting those who wronged him and her. Like, it just didn't really have any, like I said, no emotional attachment, and just, Like, it got better at the end of the movie, but then it just kind of just abruptly ended to not a great ending, I'll say. Like, I didn't love the resolution.
I respect your review, Eric, because you state you have no emotional attachment. That's, if I didn't, I wouldn't like the movie either. I'm not saying you hate the movie. I'm just saying, like, I'd dislike a movie too if I didn't give a shit about what was going on. And I respect that you explained yourself. I was invested.
Okay.
And I could see totally your side. If you don't give a shit, I'd be like, why am I watching this? And yes, everything's not clearly explained. And it's a super clinical, slow, glacial, like, pace sometimes. I kind of like that. And I was just, like, super calm. Like, it was a super relaxing movie for me. Didn't have to think too much. Just could listen at some points too. Like, not much going on.
Yeah.
It's not like a super thrilling John Wick. It's the opposite of a John Wick movie.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'll make. Honestly, my movie list now it's gonna be the hardest for me to make, and
you've seen a lot.
I have so many other movies. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like horror movies even that like I've absolutely loved, and I haven't even mentioned them on the pod yet. I'm saving those, but like that's gonna be a hard list for me to make. I don't even see The Killer making my top 10. Spoiler alert, but maybe it will eventually. Who knows? I'm trying to backtrack.
Terrifier 3, maybe, though. That might be a late entry in the season.
If it comes out in time, yeah, for sure.
I think that's out this year.
Christmas version.
No, next year.
I'm not
sure. I see 2024. Okay, October 2024. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot this year. Movie list can be hard to make. It's been the most fun, though. I don't know which list will come out first, but like, I think everyone will enjoy those 3 episodes when we do our top 10s.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see if we can get a guest for one of the either movie or TV show ones, like someone who's seen a lot of movies too, to give some diversity, or maybe, I don't know if shows would be better. I feel like the one where we'd get more diversity would be good to, because I feel like especially with our episodes that we talk about specific shows, like there's a good chance for overlap in our shows. Like I'm expecting that, honestly.
Yes.
Movies, I feel like it's gonna be all over the place. I don't think we're gonna have similar lists. Maybe a few of the same picks, but I'm especially you've seen a lot more movies than me. I've seen a lot actually this year too, but like I don't watch the horror movies, right? So like that right away eliminates the possibility of overlap there for movies. But shows, that's why I'm dabbling with the Japanese right now, just to switch it up for TV too. Like, see ya, One Piece.
Yeah, it'll be a great time. But yeah, that's all I got, Eric.
Okay.
For recommends.
Sounds good. I'll throw an album out there that I feel like people don't really know of. This guy, CJ Fly and Stoic. It's called Piranha, the name of the album. CJ Fly, and it's with a producer called Stoic. Album's called Piranha. Just dropped today. I enjoyed it. I've known CJ Fly for years now, and he's part of Joey Badass's group back in the day. I feel like now everyone's kind of gone their separate ways, but he's someone I've always known of through them, and now he's just doing his own thing. Interesting album, very short. I like his the words he uses, for example, are very eloquently spoken. Like, he has a good presence of himself. So, different rapper, has like some Jamaican flair to his raps as well. So, like I said, good presence and different rap. So I would recommend that. Something different. Probably not a top 10 album, but something different. Did I say it was different?
No, definitely check. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out because I've been looking. Like, I haven't been crushing the 2023 hip hop albums. Like, I don't listen to every week. All the albums that drop every week, I don't listen to them all. So it's good that you give me recommendations. So that's awesome.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes dropped an album today too. I actually listened to it. It was pretty solid. Very long. Like, that's a one that I don't know
Too
if that's
long.
Yeah. Over an hour is kind of tough to justify, like wanting to spin back all the time. But a lot of songs I enjoyed. So that's probably one that I pick up a few songs here and there for a playlist or something. But full album, don't know if I'd be running it back too often there. But interesting. I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got. All right. So hopefully,
I'm good here too.
Giving you all recommendations on all fronts. Good episode, Matt. Any final notes for the listeners?
Yeah, everybody, thank you for listening. It really means a lot that you guys submit stuff and interact. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope we gave you some good advice. I hope you're going to have a great Christmas, and hope you're excited to hear like the top 10s, and you guys do play along with us too. Like, submit your answer. Like, thanks everybody.
Yep, and like I said earlier as well, I know merch season's upon us. If you need a gift for somebody, just hit me up. Okay, now it's just getting desperate here asking for the merch. But yeah, thanks a lot everybody for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy the winter, and stay safe out there. It's flu season. So yeah, peace.